My brothers and sisters, there is a strength that does not come from this world, a power that is not built on opinions, approval, or the shifting ways of men. It is the power of a woman who trusts in the Most High. When the storms rise, she does not tremble. When the voices of doubt try to shake her, she stands firm. Why? Because she does not place her trust in the fragile hands of man. Her trust is in the one who never fails. The world teaches fear. It says, depend on others, follow the crowd, fit in, but she is set apart. She walks a different path. She does not rely on empty promises or seek validation from people who do not know her worth. She knows where her help comes from, and that is why she cannot be moved. Her faith is unshakable, her strength is unbreakable, her confidence is unstoppable. When others fall into fear, she stands in faith. When others chase after approval, she rests in assurance. She does not crumble under pressure, because her foundation is not built on sand, it is built on solid rock. The world may call her foolish for not following the crowd. Let them talk. The opinions of man will pass away, but truth remains forever. She knows that trusting in man leads to disappointment, but trusting in the divine brings peace, power, and purpose. So hear this today. There is no greater power than a woman who walks by faith. No force can break her, no trial can defeat her, no lie can deceive her. She is clothed in strength, wrapped in wisdom, and guided by truth. Let the world wonder where her confidence comes from. Let them question why she does not fear. She will simply smile, because she knows the secret. She trusts in something greater than man, and that is her power. Rise up, mighty woman! Your faith is your fire, your trust is your shield, and your strength is your testimony. Keep walking, keep believing, and never look back. Amen. Trust is the foundation upon which everything in life is built. Without trust, relationships crumble, decisions become clouded, and life itself loses stability. But the kind of trust that holds the greatest power is not the trust placed in people, circumstances, or material things. It is the trust that stands unshaken, the trust that does not waver in the face of uncertainty, the trust that remains firm even when everything around seems to be falling apart. This is the trust that is rooted in something higher than man, stronger than emotions, and deeper than human understanding. It is the trust that carries a person through storms, through trials, through moments when the world says, give up. The woman who walks in this kind of trust is unstoppable. She is not swayed by the opinions of others because her foundation is not built on their approval. She does not rely on the promises of people because she knows that people can change, they can fail, and they can disappoint. But the source of her trust never fails, never changes, never breaks. This is why she moves differently. While others live in fear, she walks in faith. While others hesitate, she steps forward with boldness. While others collapse under the weight of uncertainty, she stands strong because her confidence is not placed in things that are fragile. Life is full of unpredictable moments. One day, everything seems secure, and the next, the ground shakes beneath your feet. Friendships fade, opportunities slip away, and circumstances take unexpected turns. If trust is placed in these things, then life will always feel unstable. But when trust is placed in the unmovable, the unchangeable, the eternal, then nothing can break the spirit. This is why a woman who has learned to trust beyond what she sees is a force to be reckoned with. She does not panic when things don't go as planned, because she knows that her steps are guided by something greater. She does not crumble when faced with rejection, because her identity is not built on the approval of others. She does not lose hope when faced with challenges, because she understands that every obstacle is an opportunity for something greater to unfold. The world operates on a system of uncertainty. It tells people to trust in money, yet wealth can disappear in an instant. It says to trust in relationships, yet human hearts are fragile and flawed. It says to trust in status, yet power and fame are fleeting. Everything the world offers as a foundation for trust is temporary, but a woman who understands true trust knows that her security does not come from these things. She is not impressed by riches because she knows they are not permanent. She is not shaken by loss because she knows there is always provision beyond what the eye can see. She is not afraid of the future because her trust is not in the shifting seasons of life, but in the one who controls them. This kind of trust is not built overnight. It is tested in the fire of life's challenges. It is refined through trials that seem unbearable. But every time she chooses to trust instead of fear, every time she stands firm instead of doubting, every time she keeps believing when everything around her says it's impossible, her trust grows stronger. She becomes a warrior, a woman whose faith cannot be broken. She walks with a confidence that confuses those who do not understand where her strength comes from. She carries a peace that others long for, yet cannot grasp, because they are still placing their trust in things that fade away. There is a battle that every person faces, the battle between fear and trust. Fear whispers that the worst will happen. Fear tries to shake confidence, to plant doubt, to make a person question everything. But trust stands against fear like an unmovable wall. Trust says, even when I don't see the answer, I believe there is one. Trust says, even when I don't understand the plan, I know it is for my good. Trust says, even when the world gives me every reason to be afraid, I will not be shaken. A woman who has learned this truth is dangerous to the enemy. She cannot be manipulated by lies because she walks in wisdom. She cannot be controlled by fear because she knows where her security comes from. She cannot be stopped by obstacles because she sees them as stepping stones rather than barriers. Her trust is her power. It is her weapon against doubt, against anxiety, against anything that tries to steal her peace. The storms of life do not determine the strength of a person. The foundation on which they stand does. Two people can face the same storm, yet one will be destroyed while the other remains standing. The difference is not in the intensity of the storm, but in what they were anchored to before the storm arrived. The woman who has placed her trust in something unshakable will still be standing when the winds have passed, when the waves have settled, when the chaos is over. Others may look at her and wonder how she did not break, how she did not fall, how she remained strong when everything seemed against her. But she knows the truth. Her strength did not come from herself. Her power did not come from people. Her confidence was never in things that could be taken away. She trusted in something greater, and that is why she endured. The world is full of voices telling women to trust in all the wrong things. It says to trust in beauty, yet beauty fades. It says to trust in intelligence, yet there will always be someone smarter. It says to trust in strength, yet even the strongest can grow weak. But the woman who trusts in something eternal knows that her worth is not based on things that change. She walks in a different kind of confidence. Not the confidence that comes from external things, but the confidence that comes from knowing she is secure, no matter what happens around her. This is what makes her different. This is what sets her apart. She is not led by fear. She is not driven by doubt. She does not need constant reassurance from people, because her assurance comes from a place they cannot see. She does not waver in difficult times because her trust is not in circumstances, but in the one who controls them. She is unshakable, not because life is easy, but because her trust is strong. And when people see her, they will wonder. They will ask, how does she have so much peace? They will question, how can she be so strong? And she will smile because she knows the secret. She knows that her trust is not in the temporary, not in the unstable, not in the fragile hands of man. She trusts in the unchangeable, the everlasting, the firm foundation that cannot be moved. And that is why she walks with power. That is why she speaks with authority. That is why she stands with unwavering faith, because she knows where her trust lies. And that is why she will never be shaken. Confidence is a force that cannot be easily explained. It is not simply the ability to stand tall or speak loudly. It is something much deeper. It is the quiet, unshakable knowing that no matter what happens, nothing can take away your strength. It is the ability to walk through the fire of life's challenges and come out on the other side without being burned. True confidence is not based on appearances, achievements, or the approval of others. It is rooted in something far greater, something that cannot be moved by circumstances or shaken by fear. It is fearless confidence, the kind that cannot be stolen, the kind that stands firm in the face of every trial, every challenge, every storm. The world teaches a false kind of confidence. It tells people to find their worth in what they own, in what they achieve, in how others see them. But this kind of confidence is fragile. It can be taken away in an instant. A person can have wealth today and lose it tomorrow. They can be praised one day and criticized the next. They can feel strong one moment and weak the next. If confidence is based on these things, it will always be unstable. But fearless confidence is different. It is not built on temporary things. It is not dependent on who is watching or who is approving. It does not rise and fall with the opinions of people. It is steady, unmovable, untouchable. It comes from a place deep within, a place that is not influenced by the noise of the world. A woman who walks in fearless confidence carries herself differently. She does not seek validation from others because she knows her worth does not come from them. She does not waste time comparing herself to others because she understands that her path is unique. She does not fear failure because she knows that failure is not the end, but a step towards something greater. She moves with a boldness that others do not understand. Some may call her arrogant, some may misunderstand her strength, but she does not need to explain herself. She does not live for the approval of the world. She lives in alignment with truth, and that is why she cannot be broken. Fear is a thief. It steals confidence, joy, peace, and purpose. It whispers lies, telling people they are not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough. It tries to convince them to stay small, to stay silent, to never step into their true power. But fearless confidence silences fear. It refuses to bow to doubt. It stands firm when the enemy tries to shake it. It declares, "I am not afraid because I know who I am. I know what I carry. I know that no weapon formed against me can prosper." That is the power of fearless confidence. It does not waver, it does not retreat, it does not crumble under pressure. It stands, and when everything around it falls, it still stands. There are many who walk through life carrying hidden insecurities, afraid of being seen, afraid of stepping out, afraid of failing. They shrink back because fear has convinced them they are not enough. But the moment a person steps into fearless confidence, everything changes. Suddenly, they no longer care what people think. They are no longer afraid to speak their truth. They are no longer held back by the fear of failure, because they understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey. They embrace challenges with a new mindset. They face difficulties with a strength they never knew they had. They stop looking to the world for validation because they realize they already have everything they need inside of them. Fearless confidence does not mean there will never be moments of doubt. It does not mean there will never be challenges that shake the soul. But it does mean that even in those moments, the foundation remains unshaken. A confident woman may feel fear, but she does not bow to it. She may face obstacles, but she does not allow them to stop her. She may have moments of uncertainty, but she refuses to let those moments define her. She moves forward, even when the path is unclear. She steps out in faith, even when the future is unknown. She does not need to see every detail of the journey before she takes the first step, because she knows that confidence is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting the process. People will always have opinions. Some will admire fearless confidence. Others will be intimidated by it. Some will celebrate it. Others will criticize it. But a truly confident person does not concern themselves with the opinions of the crowd. They do not live for the applause, and they do not shrink because of the criticism. They walk in purpose, knowing that their calling is not dependent on human approval. They move forward, knowing that their strength does not come from the world, but from something much greater. And because of that, they do not need to fight for a place at the table. They bring their own table. They do not wait for permission to step into their destiny. They walk in it boldly. There is something powerful about a woman who is no longer afraid. A woman who knows her worth, who knows her purpose, who refuses to be held back by fear. She is unstoppable. She does not waste time doubting herself because she knows that doubt is a distraction. She does not entertain negativity because she knows that negativity has no place in her life. She does not allow the past to define her because she understands that she is not who she used to be. She is who she is becoming. Some may wonder how she became so strong. They may ask how she walks with such boldness, how she speaks with such authority, how she moves with such purpose. But what they do not see is the battles she has fought to get there. They do not see the moments she had to silence fear. They do not see the nights she had to remind herself of who she is. They do not see the work it took to build this confidence, to let go of the lies, to walk in truth. Fearless confidence is not something that happens overnight. It is built step by step, choice by choice, battle by battle. And once it is built, it cannot be taken away. It becomes part of who a person is. It becomes the fire that fuels them, the strength that carries them, the light that shines through them. It becomes their power, their weapon, their unshakable foundation. Fearless confidence is not arrogant. It is not pride. It is not about proving anything to anyone. It is simply the realization that fear has no power here. It is the decision to rise, to stand, to walk in truth. It is the refusal to be controlled by anything that is not aligned with purpose. And when a woman walks in that kind of confidence, nothing can stop her. She will rise, she will thrive, she will step into everything she was meant to be. She will not wait for permission, she will not wait for the world to approve. She will simply be who she was created to be. Bold, fearless, unstoppable. She will walk into every room knowing she belongs. She will face every challenge knowing she will overcome. She will live with a confidence that is not shaken by circumstances because it is built on something eternal. That is the power of fearless confidence. It is the kind of strength that cannot be stolen, the kind of boldness that cannot be silenced, the kind of courage that cannot be broken. It is the fire that burns inside, the light that refuses to dim, the unshakable knowing that no matter what comes, no matter what people say, no matter what happens, she will not fear, she will not fall, she will not be moved. Strength is not simply the ability to endure. It is the refusal to be broken. It is the quiet fire that burns within even when life tries to extinguish it. It is the force that rises after every fall, the power that refuses to surrender when everything seems against it. True strength is not found in muscles or in physical might, nor is it found in loudness or aggression. It is found in the woman who stands tall in the face of adversity, who does not crumble under pressure, who does not allow fear, pain, or hardship to define her. This is unbreakable strength. The kind that is forged in the fire of trials, the kind that cannot be taken away, the kind that remains when everything else has been stripped away. A woman with unbreakable strength is not one who has never faced challenges. She has known suffering, she has known loss, she has known struggle. She has walked through dark valleys, she has fought battles that no one else has seen, she has endured storms that would have destroyed a weaker soul. But she is still standing. Not because life has been easy, but because she refused to let it defeat her. Every time she was knocked down, she got back up. Every time she was told she was not strong enough, she proved otherwise. Every time life tried to break her, she became even stronger. This strength is not given, it is built. It is developed in the moments when giving up seems like the only option, but pressing forward becomes the only choice. It is built in the nights spent in tears, but waking up with determination. It is built in the times when she felt alone, but kept walking anyway. Strength is not something that comes when life is comfortable. It comes when everything is against her, and she chooses to rise anyway. It comes when she has every reason to quit, but something inside her refuses to let go. The world often mistakes strength for hardness. It assumes that to be strong, one must become cold, unfeeling, and distant. But true strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to feel deeply and still press on. It is the ability to love, even when that love has been taken for granted. It is the ability to remain kind, even when others have been cruel. It is the ability to remain open, even after experiencing heartbreak. Strength is not about shutting down. It is about standing firm, about refusing to let the world steal the goodness inside. A woman with unbreakable strength does not allow circumstances to dictate her identity. She does not allow hardships to turn her into someone she is not. She does not allow pain to make her bitter. She does not allow betrayal to make her untrusting. She understands that life will test her, but she refuses to let those tests define her. She knows that true power is not found in controlling others, but in mastering herself. It is in the ability to remain steady when the world is shaking, to remain hopeful when everything seems hopeless, to remain faithful even when the future is uncertain. There will always be moments that try to break her. There will be times when the weight of life feels unbearable, when the pressure feels too great, when the struggle feels never-ending. But she will not be moved, because her strength does not come from temporary things. It is not based on how easy or hard life is at any given moment. It is not dependent on whether people support her or whether circumstances favor her. Her strength is built on something deeper. It is unshakable, immovable, eternal. Some may look at her and wonder how she continues to stand. They may see the burdens she carries, the trials she has faced, the battles she has fought, and yet she does not waver. They may question how she has not given up, how she has not been destroyed by all that she has endured. But they do not understand what is inside her. They do not understand that she is not strong because life has been kind to her. She is strong because she has learned to rise in the face of every challenge. She has learned to fight when necessary, to be still when required, to move forward when others would retreat. She has learned that strength is not found in never falling, but in always rising. Unbreakable strength is not something that can be faked. It is not something that can be put on like a mask. It is something that comes from deep within. It is the product of faith, of perseverance, of the decision to keep going when stopping would be easier. It is the result of trusting in something greater than oneself, of understanding that every hardship has a purpose, of knowing that even the darkest moments are shaping her into the person she was meant to be. A woman who possesses this kind of strength cannot be controlled by fear. She does not waste time worrying about what others think of her, because she knows her worth is not found in their opinions. She does not shrink in the presence of opposition, because she knows that challenges only make her stronger. She does not seek approval because she understands that her strength is not dependent on validation. She walks with confidence not because life has been easy, but because she has learned that true power comes from within. People will try to understand her. They will ask how she remains so strong. Some will admire her while others will resent her. Some will try to break her, hoping that if they apply enough pressure, she will finally crumble. But they will not succeed. Because a woman with unbreakable strength is not afraid of pressure. She embraces it. She knows that diamonds are formed under pressure. She knows that fire refines gold. She knows that every hardship, every difficulty, every trial is only making her stronger. And so she keeps moving forward. She does not let fear hold her back. She does not let pain stop her. She does not let doubt control her. She knows that she was created for more, and she refuses to settle for less. She knows that she has a purpose, and she refuses to let anything stand in the way of fulfilling it. She knows that her strength is not just for her. It is for those who will come after her, for those who are watching, for those who need to see what is possible when a woman refuses to break. The world is full of people who give up too soon, people who allow hardships to define them, who allow struggles to break them. But she is different. She is not like them. She does not quit. She does not surrender. She does not allow anything to steal her fire. She burns with a passion that cannot be extinguished. She moves with a determination that cannot be stopped. She walks in a power that cannot be taken away, and because of that, she will not fail. She will not be defeated. She will not be broken. She will continue to rise, continue to fight, continue to stand tall, no matter what comes her way, because she is strong, not just any kind of strong, not the kind of strength that fades when tested, not the kind of strength that disappears when things get hard, but unbreakable strength. The kind that endures, the kind that overcomes, the kind that cannot be shaken. Deception is one of the greatest tools used to keep people bound. It is subtle, creeping in through whispers of doubt, fear, and false promises. It is a lie that presents itself as truth, a trap that looks like freedom, a chain that disguises itself as a path to power. The world is filled with deception, and many walk through life never realizing they are living under its influence. They believe they are free, but in reality they are bound by invisible chains, chains of fear, of insecurity, of the need for approval, of the pursuit of things that will never satisfy. True freedom does not come from following the world's ways, from chasing temporary pleasures, from seeking validation from others. True freedom comes only when deception is exposed and truth is embraced. A deceived person does not know they are deceived. That is the power of deception. It blinds the eyes and hardens the heart. It makes people believe that the lies they are living are reality. It convinces them that what is temporary is eternal, that what is fleeting is worth sacrificing everything for. It traps them in cycles of striving, of chasing, of always reaching but never arriving. They work for wealth but never feel secure. They seek love but never feel truly known. They gain success but still feel empty. They believe they are on the right path, yet deep inside there is a void that nothing can fill. This is the fruit of deception, an endless pursuit of something that was never meant to satisfy. The world sells a false version of freedom. It tells people that to be free means to do whatever they want, whenever they want, with whomever they want. It tells them that truth is whatever they decide it to be, that boundaries are restrictions rather than protections, that discipline is bondage rather than strength. But this kind of so-called freedom is the very thing that leads to captivity. It is a trap, a false promise, a road that leads not to fulfillment, but to destruction. It convinces people that they are in control, when in reality they are being controlled by their own desires, by their own fears, by the very things they believe they have mastered. They think they are living for themselves, but they are actually being led by something they do not even recognize. True freedom begins when deception is broken. It begins when the lies are exposed, when the scales fall from the eyes, when the heart awakens to reality. It is the moment when a person realizes that everything they were chasing was only leading them further into emptiness. It is the realization that what they thought would fulfill them has only left them more hollow. It is the understanding that the things they thought would bring them peace have only brought more turmoil. It is the awakening to the truth that they were never meant to live this way, never meant to be bound by these things, never meant to spend their lives chasing something that will never satisfy. When deception is broken, everything changes. Suddenly the things that once seemed so important no longer hold the same power. The opinions of others no longer control. The pursuit of status, of wealth, of recognition loses its grip. The need to prove oneself, to strive, to earn love, to chase temporary pleasures fades away. In its place there is peace, there is clarity, there is purpose. There is a new way of seeing the world, a new way of walking, a new way of living that is no longer defined by the lies of the world, but by a truth that cannot be shaken. But breaking free from deception is not always easy. The world fights to keep people bound. It whispers doubts, it plants fears, it tries to pull them back into the cycle of striving. It tells them they are missing out, that they are being foolish, that they are giving up too much. It tries to convince them that the old ways were better, that the lies were actually truth, that the chains were actually freedom, and many fall back because they do not yet understand the depth of the deception they were in. They do not yet see how deeply it had taken root in their hearts, how much it had shaped their thinking, how much it had influenced the way they saw themselves and the world around them. But those who refuse to turn back, those who continue to walk in truth, those who stand firm against the lies, those are the ones who experience true freedom. They are no longer controlled by their past. They are no longer defined by their failures. They are no longer chasing after things that will never satisfy. They are no longer burdened by the need to prove themselves. They are no longer bound by fear, by shame, by the expectations of the world. They walk in confidence, not because they have everything figured out, but because they know that truth has set them free. The world does not understand this kind of freedom. It looks at those who have been freed from deception and sees them as strange. It does not understand how they can live without fear, how they can walk away from the things the world says are valuable, how they can be at peace, even when they have nothing the world considers important. But that is because the world is still blind. It is still caught in the web of lies, still bound by the very things it calls freedom, and so it tries to pull others back in, to convince them that they are the ones who are deceived. It ridicules them, it opposes them, it tries to make them question what they now know to be true. But nothing can shake a person who has truly been set free. No argument, no accusation, no pressure can make them return to what they once were. They have tasted something greater. They have experienced something real. They have been awakened to a truth that is so deep, so powerful, so undeniable that they can never go back. They see the world differently now. They recognize the lies for what they are. They no longer chase after things that have no value. They no longer believe the empty promises of the world. They no longer live for the approval of man. They walk in clarity, they walk in purpose, they walk in true freedom, and because of that they are unstoppable. Nothing can control them, nothing can manipulate them, nothing can make them afraid. They do not need to be liked, because their identity is not found in the opinions of others. They do not need to be successful by the world's standards, because they know that true success is not measured in temporary things. They do not need to seek fulfillment in things that fade, because they have found something that is eternal. They do not need to prove anything to anyone, because they are already complete. This is what it means to be truly free. It is not the absence of struggle, not the absence of hardship, not the absence of challenges. It is the ability to walk through all of those things without being bound by them. It is the ability to face trials without being shaken, to endure loss without being destroyed, to stand firm when everything around them is unstable. It is the strength to walk away from deception, to leave behind everything that once held them captive, to step fully into the life they were meant to live. And once a person has been set free from deception, they will never again settle for anything less. They will never again believe the lies. They will never again allow themselves to be controlled by things that have no real power. They will never again be bound by fear, by shame, by insecurity. They will walk with boldness. They will live with confidence. They will stand firm in truth, and nothing in this world will ever be able to shake them again. There was a time when she was lost, wandering through life without direction, searching for something to fill the emptiness inside her. She had tried everything the world offered, seeking satisfaction in places that only left her feeling more broken. She had believed the promises of success, thinking that if she achieved enough, she would finally feel complete. She had trusted in relationships, hoping that love from others would make her whole. She had pursued pleasure, thinking that if she could just feel good for a moment, the pain would disappear. But nothing worked. The deeper she went into the things of the world, the more empty she felt. The harder she tried to create a life that looked perfect on the outside, the more she realized how hollow it all was. She had moments of joy, moments of excitement, moments where it seemed like she had found what she was looking for, but those moments never lasted. The happiness always faded, the success always felt empty. The love always seemed conditional. No matter how much she achieved, how much she gained, how many people praised her, there was still something missing. She would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why she still felt so lost. She had everything she thought she needed, yet, inside, she was crumbling. She reached a breaking point. Life had thrown everything at her: disappointment, betrayal, failure, heartbreak. She had fought to keep it together, to appear strong, to act like she was in control. But behind closed doors, she was falling apart. She was exhausted, she was drained, she was done pretending. She had given everything she had, and it still wasn't enough. She felt alone, abandoned, unseen. She questioned if there was any purpose in her pain, if there was any meaning to her suffering, if there was any hope for someone like her. And then something shifted. It wasn't a dramatic moment. There was no loud voice, no flashing light, no sudden transformation. It was a quiet whisper in her heart, a realization that she couldn't keep living this way. She had spent her whole life chasing after things that could never truly satisfy. But now she knew she needed something deeper. She needed something real. She needed truth, not deception. She needed strength, not temporary fixes. She needed peace, not distractions. She needed something that would last, something that would never fade, something that would fill the emptiness that nothing else had been able to touch. So she let go. She released the weight she had been carrying, the expectations she had placed on herself, the need to prove her worth. She stopped fighting to create a life that looked good on the outside and started focusing on what was happening on the inside. She faced her fears, her wounds, her brokenness. She stopped running from the pain and started allowing it to transform her. She realized that every hardship she had been through was not meant to destroy her, but to shape her into something stronger. She understood that her struggles were not signs of weakness, but proof that she was still standing, still fighting, still growing. As she walked through the process of transformation, she began to see the truth more clearly. The things she once valued no longer held the same power. The approval of others no longer controlled her. The pursuit of success no longer defined her. She no longer measured her worth by what she had, by what she achieved, by what people thought of her. She no longer needed external validation to feel complete. She had found something greater, something unshakable, something that nothing in this world could take away from her. The woman who once lived in fear now walked in confidence. The woman who once sought fulfillment in all the wrong places now lived with purpose. The woman who once felt broken beyond repair now stood strong. Not because life had become easy, but because she had been transformed from the inside out. She no longer allowed circumstances to dictate her identity. She no longer allowed pain to define her. She no longer allowed the opinions of others to shape her destiny. People began to notice the change in her. They could see it in her eyes, in the way she carried herself, in the way she spoke. There was a new strength in her voice, a new fire in her spirit, a new power in her presence. She was no longer the same person she had once been. The enemy had tried to silence her, but she now spoke with boldness. Life had tried to destroy her, but she had become unstoppable. She did not hide her story. She did not cover up the struggles she had been through, the battles she had fought, the pain she had endured. She knew that her testimony was not just for her. It was for others who were still lost, still searching, still broken. She knew that there were women out there who felt the same emptiness she had once felt, who were chasing after things that would never satisfy, who were carrying burdens they were never meant to carry. She knew that her pain had a purpose, that her struggles had not been in vain, that everything she had gone through had prepared her for this moment, to be a voice of hope, to be a light in the darkness, to be proof that transformation is possible. And so she spoke. She shared her journey. She told the truth, even when it was hard, even when people didn't understand. She refused to sugarcoat her past, refused to pretend she had never struggled, refused to hide the reality of what she had been through, because she knew that someone somewhere needed to hear it. Someone needed to know that they were not alone. Someone needed to know that no matter how broken they felt, no matter how lost they were, no matter how far they had fallen, there was still hope. Some people doubted her. Some questioned her transformation. Some whispered about her past, trying to remind her of who she used to be. But she did not let their voices affect her. She was not who she used to be. She was not defined by her past mistakes, by her failures, by the things she had once believed about herself. She had been made new, and nothing anyone said could take that away from her. She walked with authority now. She no longer second-guessed herself. She no longer hesitated. She no longer shrank back in fear. She had found her voice, and she was going to use it. She was going to speak life. She was going to lift others up. She was going to encourage the weary, strengthen the weak, remind the forgotten that they were seen. She was going to tell the world what she had learned. That true strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from walking through it and coming out stronger. That true fulfillment is not found in what the world offers, but in something greater. That true freedom is not about doing whatever feels good, but about walking in truth, walking in purpose, walking in power. She was a testimony of transformation, a living example that no one is too broken to be made whole. That no past is too messy, no mistake is too great, no wound is too deep. That the trials meant to destroy you can actually be the very things that shape you into who you were always meant to be. That everything the enemy tried to use for harm can be turned into a story of victory. And so she kept going, she kept speaking, she kept living with boldness, with confidence, with a fire that could not be put out. She was no longer looking for the world's approval. She was no longer chasing empty things. She was walking in her calling, walking in her purpose, walking in the truth that had set her free. Her story was not over, it was only just beginning. Because a woman with a powerful testimony is unstoppable. She is unshakable. She is fearless, and nothing in this world can silence her.